Good morning, grade 5. Today is Sunday, March 29, 2020, the first day of week 11. I am in page 285 now. The topic is what are the outer planets? So let's start. The outer planets are the farthest planet in the solar system. In some books, they call it as a gas giants. There are still four planets in the solar system. They are the Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and then the Neptune. They are known as the outer planets or the gas giants. Why they call the outer planet as the gas giants? Because the characteristic girls of outer planets are they are gases. So if you're trying to imagine if you could land in Saturn and Jupiter, you cannot do it because according to the scientists, outer planets or the gas planet have core, but the surface is gas. Compared to the inner planet like our planet Earth, we have core at the same time we have a rocky surface. But for outer planet, it's not. Another characteristic is there is no solid surface. They only have just thick atmosphere of gases. They are very large compared to the inner planets. At the same time, they are very, very far away from the sun and all have rings and moons. All of the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, they have moons and they also have the rings. Now, let's go back here in question number 1. Compare and contrast, write some similarities and differences between the inner planets and outer planets. The similarities are they have layers, they have cores, and they have surfaces. At the same time, both of the planet is orbiting around the sun. The differences are inner planets have rocky surface while the outer planets don't have. The one dividing the inner planet and then the outer planet is the asteroid belt. This is the boundary of the two planets, inner and outer. The boundary is the asteroid belt. What is the asteroid belt? Asteroid belt separates the inner and then the outer planet, possibly an inannihilate planet. What does it mean? Some scientists says that asteroid is just a crash and rocky planets floating here. So they are like a broken pieces of planets. Possibly in million years, this asteroid will form another planets, according to the scientists. Okay, most of the asteroid is just hanging in the asteroid belt, so they are floating here. Okay, so let's go to the first outer planet. The first outer planet in our solar system is Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is the fifth planet from the sun. This is the largest outer planet. It is a gas giant, meaning among the four outer planets, this is the biggest gas planet. At the same time, according to the records of the scientists, as of the date, it has 52 or 53 moons. Okay. In 1610, Galileo discovered the four largest moon of Jupiter. So I will show it here. The four largest moon of Jupiter are Ganymede, Io, Europa, and then the Callisto. So this is the largest planet. Didn't you know some of the moon of Jupiter has water? At the same time, some moon is almost same size. Some of the moon is almost the same size of Earth. So now, let's answer number 2. How are Jupiter and Earth different? Jupiter is much larger and it rotates much faster than the Earth. There is another piece of information here about Jupiter. Jupiter could hold 1,300 Earth inside it, meaning you need 1,300 planet Earth to fill inside Jupiter. That is how big is Jupiter. Almost big enough to be a star. So the size of Jupiter, it could be same as the star. Didn't you know, girls, that 12 years here on Earth is just 1 year in Jupiter? I will repeat. 12 years here on Earth is just 1 year. Why? Because the orbit size and length of Jupiter is much bigger compared to Earth. Meaning Jupiter finished the orbiting around the sun, okay, in 12 years here on Earth. Okay? So if you are 12 years old here on Earth, if you go to Jupiter, you are just 1 year old. That is the equivalent. And then 1 Jupiter day is just 12 hours. Imagine, we have 24 hours a day, right? But in Jupiter, it's just 12 hours. Okay? There is a huge storm. Okay? The huge storm, actually, you can see it here. This is a huge storm. What is the size of that huge storm? A size as big of the Earth. Imagine. That is too big. Now, as I mentioned, some moons of the Earth have water. Now, next outer planet is Saturn. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun. Like Jupiter, Saturn has an atmosphere that contains mostly hydrogen and helium. Saturn is very large, but it is dense. Okay? The density is very low, what I mean. When Galileo looked at the Saturn through his telescope, he saw what looked like a planet with handles. Okay, that handles is referring to the rings, okay, of the planets. By the way, these rings is made up of ice and dust. So if you're trying to imagine, can I ride? Can I step on these rings? No, this is an ice and dust. This is not solid. This is dust and ice. Okay? Now, back to this one. In 2009, a giant new ring was discovered. The ring is invisible, but it is infrared glow. It's glowing. It's like glowing in the dark. Okay? Now, they use a Spitzer space telescope to see this kind of ring. So, before, here, two rocks on the rings of Saturn start orbiting on the point. Another is a rock started to point. So this is just illustrating, girls, what does the ring of Saturn consist of? It consists of rocks, it consists of dust, it also consists of ice. So meaning there are layers of things in the ring of what? Saturn. Another information here about Saturn is this one. Saturn orbits 29 years. Okay, compared to Earth, imagine if you are 29 years old here on Earth, you are just 1 year old in Saturn. Because for Saturn to finish the sun's, what I mean, for Saturn to finish its orbit, it needs 29 years. Why? Because this is the sixth planet. The orbit is bigger compared to other planets. That's why it finishes 29 years. Oh my goodness. And 1 day to Saturn is 10 hours. Jupiter, 1 day is 12 hours. But for Saturn, 1 day is just 10 hours. For Jupiter, it orbits 12 years. But for Saturn, it orbits 29 years. Oh my goodness, it's too long. Okay? Now, let's go to the next outer planet, Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and the most distant planet. You can see without a telescope. Uranus is a gas giant with an atmosphere of hydrogen, helium, and methane. Methane is a blue gas. The planet is so cold that the methane can condense into a liquid. Imagine. At the same time, the fuzzy blue-green look, okay, it is because of the gases inside this planet. As I mentioned, blue is the color of methane, and then it gives different colors because of the other gases inside this planet, okay? Now, Uranus rotates in a different side, okay? So it has its own way how to rotate. Uranus, another information for Uranus is this one. Blue in the color, it's because of the methane gas. It orbits 84 years. Imagine it's too long. And then it rotates sideways. So Saturn, it rotates this way. But Uranus, it rotates in this way. And then the temperature is negative 250 Celsius. No one could live in this kind of temperature. At the same time, methane is what? It's a dangerous gas to our health. The next planet is Neptune. Neptune is too far away to see without a telescope. It is the eighth planet from the sun. Okay? Astronomer discovered Neptune in 1846. It takes more than 100 years, imagine more than 100 years to orbit around the sun. Neptune is the smallest of the gas planet. Even so, if Neptune were hollow, it could hold around 60 Earth. Even though they are saying that this is the smallest outer planet, you need 60 Earth to fill this planet. Okay? Let's compare. What is the similar about atmosphere of Uranus and Neptune? They both have bluish color at the same time. They both have same gas, which is methane. Another information about Uranus is Uranus also has a ring, but it lies in sideways. Okay, now let's go here. Exploring the giants. Okay, many scientists, astronauts, and explorers send probes already. Probes is it's like a big camera. They send it outer space to get information and data. Okay, they launched the first probe, which name is Pioneer 10. Okay, Pioneer 10. The owner of that one is NASA, and then they launched it in Florida, United States. The first is Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11. This was launched in 1970 and then followed by Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Okay, the Galileo probe explored Jupiter in great detail. At the same time, Cassini mission has sent back the huge amount of information in the Saturn. That's why they get a picture of the ring of Saturn. They get the information about what is the content of the ring of the Saturn. The smaller probe named Huygens was launched from Cassini and was able to land in Saturn in the largest moon. So one of the largest moon of Saturn is Titan. The probe landed already, and then it was already proven that the moon of Saturn is solid. At the same time, the size of the moon is as same as the Earth, meaning that rover is without human being inside, just the spacecraft or a rover. Number 6. What is the information might you like to have to send you from space probe? You can get an information like the temperature of the moon, the size, and if it is solid or a gas. Okay, in the last page, think of 3 terms to describe some characteristic of inner planets and outer planets. So I wrote here the characteristic of inner and outer planets. And number 8, what are some common characteristics of all the planets? The common or the similarity of all the planets are all planets are round. The shape is round. All of the planets is rotating. At the same time, all is revolving. Okay, girls, thank you for listening. I hope you have learned many things today. So enjoy your day. Thank you.